to have you join us again. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo is facing a heavy backlash for allegedly minimizing the importance of President Bola Tinubu's infrastructure projects, particularly the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, in his new memoir, Nigeria, Past and Future. Special Assistant to the President on social media, Dada Olusegun, accused Chief Obasanjo of rewriting history while ignoring his own failures in office. In a post on his verified X account, he stated that Obasanjo's claims would further diminish his integrity as a leader. Mr. Olusegun highlighted that key infrastructure projects stagnated during the former president's 8 years in power, particularly the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which was only revived after Buhari's administration. And he criticized Chief Obasanjo for mismanaging the power sector and failing to revitalize the refineries. In his tweet, and I quote, "President Tinubu will not be distracted by these accusations," end quote. Olusegun insists, emphasizing the Nigerians focused on development would support the administration's progress. Well, the Lagos-Calabar Expressway, that's the coastal highway project, is expected to boost Nigeria's economy and improve coastal connectivity. Alongside other major road projects, it represents a significant infrastructure push by the current government. Well, joining us now via Zoom from the United States is the Director of Social Rehabilitation, Grace and Support Initiative, Dr. Oludare Marindoti. It's good to see you again. Welcome to the program. So what do you make
Thank you very much for having me.
Right. What do you make of Olusegun Obasanjo's latest message to the government?
You know, we are all Nigerians and we always love to respect our elders. So we first must put that in place. And, you know, the Nigerian people, as a Yoruba boy, actually, we have a saying that what the elder sees sitting down, the young person might not see standing up. However, where that saying fails or falls short is the fact that it forgets that as people get older, they sometimes start to lose their sight. And, you know, to the point where they might suffer from severe form of myopia or even be legally blind. And that is what I think is, you know, responsible for the statement by the former president, very respected man, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, the great grandfather. You know, the thing is, the most important thing to me.
Marindoti, hello, Marindoti. Let's be careful the way we use our words here. So we're talking about an elder statesman who was a former president of Nigeria. So let's remove those slangs and just use appropriate words to address ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo. Right. So you may continue.
No, I was actually not saying, talking specifically about, what's it called, about the president. I was making a reference to a Yoruba saying.
Okay. And
that was where I, you know, tried to say that Yoruba is just the same way Baba's way was try to dispute a, what's it called, an adage. So, but my main point is, and that was why I started with the fact that, you know, we have to respect him and his opinion. And I was like, the most important thing to me is not what the president has said or the former president has said, but the perception of Nigerians about this project, which is what I think is most important. I mean, we want definitely everybody to ply that highway. You know, when we are talking about international trade, maritime is very, very important. I mean, and this road is going to open up all our maritime, you know, coastal highway, all the maritime axis. So this road will mean that it is going to be easier for everybody that is making production in the hinterland of Nigeria to be able to get their things to which the different ports that are being structured. One is going to be in Ondo State, one is going to be in Calabar or something. You know, all those ones, it will make it easier, movement of goods and services along that corridor. And if you look at that corridor too, that corridor is the most, densely populated in Nigeria. So the impact already in my state of Ondo, in Ondo State, where that people are already anticipating based on this what's it called, on this road, is so enormous because it reminds me of the I-95 in the United States that runs across, you know, the Atlantic from south up all the way to the border of Canada. So it is a very important economic road.
Right.
And so, I mean, there are so many criticisms of the president that even me as a supporter will have. But this is one very important germane infrastructure that I was so glad that, someone was able to conceive. And you have to be able to conceive it for you to be able to achieve it. And if Nigeria is going to get out of the economic doldrum that we have, we need visionary leaders that will be able to, imagine these projects and, go through with it. So if the former president was not able to conceive this such projects during his time and, have the guts to go through with it, then that might explain some of the economic problems that we have right now, because regional leaders need to think about the future. In my own estimation, in the next 10 years, that road will not even be enough. We will need more parallel roads and, flyovers and spurs off of it. So the road is even just a start. So to criticize such a road, I think it is not to the benefit of Nigerians. That is why I said that we have to, respect the octogenarian and just let's focus on enlightening Nigerians about, the benefits of this road, this highway to their lives. We are already looking at in Ondo State a situation where people will be living in Ondo State and working in Lagos State because within 1 hour they will drive 1 hour, 1 hour 30 minutes. They've driven to the Eco Atlantic City.
Okay,
and that is going to be the same for each of the contiguous areas around, Edo Delta, all the places that is going to go through. So that's the most important thing that I think we need to focus on in terms of that comment by the former president, which is, a respected, statesman, but his comment was probably just misguided, in my own opinion.
Okay,
and I believe he's being honest. He just couldn't see the importance of that project.
Okay, so you mentioned about impact now, and you talked about the fact that this will impact on neighboring states where the road will cut across. But there have been complaints about the road project going through some areas in parts of Lagos and the rights of way and all of that, and some people have to lose their property, lose their landed properties and all of that, lose their houses, lose their investment because of that. Perhaps this is why ex-President Olusegun Obasanjo is criticizing this project, looking at the fact that billions of naira will be spent or is being spent, or even trillions of naira is being spent on this project, and he thinks that it could go into other activities, other things that will better the lives of individuals. Of course, many people have also mentioned this and criticized this project, saying that inner roads should have been done. The money could have gone to other major roads in Nigeria, and which will better benefit the lives of Nigerians as well. Can you react to that?
Yeah, I understand that some people cannot see beyond what obtains, but that is not visionary leadership. You have to be able to look into the future. I remember very well when there was the old brouhaha about Landmark and their properties and a lot of other properties, people who have built along that corridor. I can understand their pain. And I believe they are all being, fairly compensated, because that is really not what they are complaining about. They just don't want to lose their properties. And you can sympathize with that. Those are real concerns. But you have to be able to, juxtapose or compare the interests of a few to the interest of many. I believe by the time that road, even the first phase that is going to be completed, that will stop at, I think, about Lekki Expressway or something, the free trade zone. The first phase, even by the time the first phase will be completed, the number of people that will ply that road, the number of economic activities that will be facilitated by that road on a daily basis will be more than the value of all the properties that are being, destroyed. So we have to be able to balance the interests of both people and understand, sympathize with people who are definitely, legitimate business people who have lost their properties, and put that, vis-a-vis the, interest of everybody who will be using that road in the, in the near future, and even in the, for our future generation. That road will be there 40, 50 years. It reminds me all this, important highways that the president is embarking on. There's going to be a spur, I think, off of that road too, that will go, I think, to the northeast, and know that the Minister of Works has been talking about. And funny enough, he was in Ondo State to talk about that road, which is my state, when this when it was questioned about this interview. So all these things it reminds me of the the great infrastructural push that the United States did in 1950, immediately after the war, where they went about the interstate system that was funded by Eisenhower, because these things have facilitated the economy of the United States. That is what turned the United States to an economic superpower of today, because you need to be able to move goods and services and people for your economy to be able to grow. And that is the area that even gives us the cash cow in our country. That is the area where you get all the oil that is giving us, maybe 80 or 90% of our revenue. So when you talk about these roads, then definitely the president has not abandoned previous projects in favor of this one. All of them have been, intelligently funded. And so when you talk about the people, we can sympathize with that, and we cannot, fault the cries of the people who are about to lose their investment. They've invested emotion, money, time. We can sympathize with that. We can compensate them, adequately for that. But we cannot, because of the interest of those few people, jeopardize the future of our children. Like I said, I believe in the next 10 years, this road will even not be enough. We need to start building parallel roads, because I am envisaging economic boom. So these are the things that that is not obtaining right now, but you need visionary leadership to be able to look into the future and see those things and then plan for it. Be ahead there, so that by the time the children that are not yet born are getting older, they are taking that road. And even this road is also going to reduce the insecurity along that axis, because, like we always say, when you want darkness to get out, you put light in there. People are going to start developing real estate and properties along that axis. And so it will even bring about a dwindling in the bunkery and all the illegal activities that is going on there, because people are now there. You can't escape, you can't hide. It's no longer a wilderness. So these are the things that are not occurring right now, that the critics of this road need to be able to envisage. And we need to keep talking about it and enlightening the people, so that they can get on the right side of the project, as opposed to criticizing it. Like I said, I am not in any way, shape, or form disputing the pains of the people who are losing their properties right now. But that is only in Lagos State, and Lagos is probably going to be about just 10% of the of that whole project. So, I understand Lagos makes so much of the money and all of that, but when you look at the whole project, it pales in comparison. So we cannot, because of these pains, say it's a bad project at all. And the other projects are being completed. They completed the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. They are still completing a lot of roads. So
Mr. Marindoti,
criticism of this project is something that I'm particularly against, especially because
Dr. Marindoti, looking at
full disclosure.
So, looking at this issue with Obasanjo's statement, the Nation newspaper this morning talked about corruption, and it's saying that someone has reacted to this now. Giri mentioned that ex-president least qualified to accuse anyone of corruption, and for ex-ACF says provide basis for your allegations. Now, how will you rate the fight against corruption during the time of ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo and now, because he rated the past administration low in the fight against corruption?
Yeah, I remember there were a lot of scandals even on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway about the awarding and the awarding. One of the legacy projects of Obasanjo was the bypassing of Ile-Ife. I attended OAU, bypassing of Ile-Ife during the Ile-Ife Modareke war, and the road that was built how many years ago is no longer motorable. I applied that road on my way to Akure when I came in a few weeks ago. So, these are things that, not right now, this administration will have to still go back and fix it. This road, they are doing concrete, so it's going to have a lifespan about 30 to 50 years. You cannot really compare. When they talk about corruption, that is a valid point that people can talk about. But someone with the caliber of President Obasanjo will need to, present more than just alleging. Because I remember one of the comments that the Minister of Works said is that I am a person of integrity. And so if you are saying, and this process has been very open and in the public, so if you are saying there's corruption, then you're accusing me of corruption, and which is unfair also to the person of the minister. So when you are talking about corruption in general, the point that the former president was trying to make on a grand scheme of things, yeah, makes sense. Maybe there are people who use projects to, or what's it called, to embezzle money. I mean, even I can still give a little bit of credence to the argument about the vice president's lodge that I also mentioned, although the counter to that argument would be that every infrastructure is a decaying project. If you don't finish it, the amount of money that project was awarded is more than 10 times what is being completed for right now because of inflation and all of that. So should we keep kicking the can down the road when we've already put so much money in this project, or just complete it now? Because now completing now is going to be the cheapest way to complete it, unless you want to allow that to be a permanently decaying asset, which is one of the things that President Bola Tinubu has kicked against, especially in a lot of federal government buildings that have turned into liabilities in Lagos, on the Lagos island area that is trying to revamp. So these are things that are very germane. I can understand how Nigerians who probably are hungry are feeling, and I can also have my own criticism about this administration for not implementing economic and trade policies that will quell hunger in the country. But these are things that you cannot say. You cannot, I mean, at least I think as an elder statesman, should not be, emphatically saying there's corruption when it does not have the receipts. Like Yoruba will say, if I tell you water is burning, tell me to bring the ashes. So if the president wants to tell us the water of corruption is burning, then he should give us the ashes to prove it before he makes such blanket statement, because the integrity and the integrity and the emotions of people are at stake. So that is going to be my own take about the whole corruption allegation.
The president's argument, as stated in his new book, also has to do with the concerns that some Nigerians have also expressed about this particular Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road project, considering the number of years it will take for it to be completed. And so there are fears that this might just be another abandoned project. Dr. Marindoti, so what are your sentiments in this regard?
Yeah, that is a very valid fear. I mean, I like the speed at which it has been, continuously moving forward. I understand that. I definitely know that when it gets out of Lagos State, the other parts of it are going to move forward a lot faster because there's not a lot of development along those axes. So there's going to be a lot more obstacle. It's usually, I mean, it takes some projects will take maybe 5 to 10 years to complete. It just takes time for cement to harden. And that is why, for me, it is so important for President Tinubu to win the second time, because it is during the second time that he will be able to do the part that goes through my state and complete this road. And this road needs to be completed because we have a legacy. That's the valid fear. We have a legacy of abandoned projects in Nigeria. And that is why I have my own criticism for the president in terms of food security in Nigeria, because I believe our 1930 economic policy of putting tariff on food is the reason why Nigerians are suffering right now. When I was in Nigeria, I met someone who bought rice in Cotonou for 46,000 naira a bag. If I told you where to buy 46,000 naira a bag today, you may want to turn me to president. So all this, criticism that is stripping and dropping, El-Rufai's criticism and all, they are all trying to exploit the anger and the hunger that Nigerians are feeling. And I think it is strategically wrong for the president not to be addressing this hunger. He said it himself that he wants to control food insecurity with supply during his media chat. Well, you cannot want to control food insecurity with supply and the high prices, and then you are still stifling the supply with tax, because import duty is tax on food. And when you fall to the right of the laugh of people don't bring food in again, so that means the scarcity will now further increase the price. Even food like garri, the price will be high because rice is so expensive, and they know that, well, you can't buy rice, so you are coming to buy garri. But if the price of rice comes down, the price of garri that is not being imported will also come down, because they know if they make it so high, nobody will buy from them. I mean, if you want to protect farmers, the best I think you can do is have a quota system. This tariff policy is the one that Trump is trying to bring into the United States right now, that everybody is calling him stupid for. The New York Times is the one that used that word. So we cannot keep on having this policy because what people are going to do is they are going to blame the president's policy of floating of exchange rate and unification of exchange rate and the removal of subsidy. I'm going to blame those policies for the hike in price of food, and they might punish him in 2027 for it. And that is what a lot of people are dripping and dropping. And this is the harbinger of the campaign season. That is why all these things are coming out. He can take this weapon of hunger away from them by changing those trade policies, so that he will be he will be in office for the second term and complete this project, because he himself said it is going to complete everything by the end of his second term. So it is very important for him to get that second term, because a lot of the people right now who are going to be his opponent have been criticizing it, which shows that they might have less political will to complete it. Even though it's a legacy project,
Dr. Marindoti,
project, you have to ensure that the smart people win.
Dr. Marindoti, while we're not campaigning for anybody at this time, don't you think it's quite strategic that projects of this nature will be shifted to the second term of an administration when no one knows what's going to happen in that time?
Yeah, it is sad that we always say it's a moniker that government is a continuum, but in Nigeria, we know it's not always that. Some, we've had governments that have been so irresponsible as to even abandon the project of their own party that is succeeded. This government is not doing that. They're inheriting everything and they are trying to complete it. And their economic policies of stopping to give rich people money in terms of dollar and petrol is giving them the resources right now to invest in these roads that will make our lives better. So, but it is just a normal thing in construction, in engineering, that when you mix cement and pour it on the ground, it will take time to harden. It has to harden before you put other layers of construction and everything on top of it. So it is just a normal and also there's also the funding restrictions also. So it's just a normal process that this is going to take up to 8 years. I mean, I've seen constructions or reconstructions in the United States that's taken over 7 years. So it is just normal. It is international standard. It is not because they are trying to, not complete it so that they can get a second term. No, but it is important for them. I know this campaign season is not yet here, but in the age of social media, people don't stop campaigning. We saw it with Trump. Trump spent 4 years campaigning. He came back to office. The opponents of the president have been campaigning the last 4 years. They will just dial it up a notch when it comes into next year. And that is why I am anticipating and I am pleading with the president right now to re-strategize, to allow food come in so that prices come down and people give him the credit, and his opponents will not have a cudgel to strike him with, because they will say he's doing these things. They will be seeing the infrastructure. But the most important in the hierarchy of the most important is physiology, which is food. People need food more than security. So if you allow people to eat, they will give you a second term. They will reward you for it, and they will allow you to finish these policies. Because it's not just even the construction, the policy of the unification of exchanges and everything. There are a lot of people who are losing money right now, who are angry, who are waiting, who are lying in wait for 2027 to come.
All right.
And these people will start showing their head right now.
Okay.
So I want this project to be completed because it will not get into my state, not because of just that, but another very selfish reason is because it won't get to my state until next term.
All right.
So I want the president to strategize.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Oludare Marindoti, for speaking with us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much.